Today, my name is Ben, I'm the owner of BluLadder, and today we're doing some window cleaning with the water-fed pole. So I've got a little spool here with my hose. I'm running it out from my truck. Have the water filtration system set up right over there. 3-stage RODI unit hooked up with the 0G hose bought at Lowe's. I'll clean those screens later. But come on right along for a day of work with me. I already cleaned the windows here inside, and now I'm going to be cleaning up the outside windows. Looks like it'll probably take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before I'm complete with everything. Add 15 minutes for the screens possibly. They're in good shape, but I'll see how long that takes later. Anyways, love cleaning windows. I've been cleaning windows since 2011 or so, and it was something that kind of was born out of necessity. So I was going to college, wanted to be an engineer, or so I thought. I got an internship for a local guy growing his engineering practice. He was working on the hospital and some nice new construction homes right on the bluffs of the ocean, and he wanted to look for a young guy who he could train up and become a partner in the future. So I got that internship, and pretty quickly realized within a couple weeks, I was only working 20 hours, maximum 20 hours a week, 4-hour shifts at a time, and getting through 4 hours seemed like an eternity. I could do the math, I could do the calculations, but I didn't like it at all. So cumbersome to me and much less creative. Not that I thought engineering would be very creative, but even less creative than I anticipated. So, all that to say, started realizing that I didn't really want to be an engineer. So the search for what was next began. Took some business classes at a local community college. Figured they were too easy. And then that whole housing crisis happened back in 2008, 2007 rather. Whatever, those years were pretty bad for the economy. And I was in California, construction completely halted. I had been working on the side doing construction, and I couldn't find any work. Just seemed to dry up everywhere. So I went ahead and started looking for ways to make money. For several years, or at least a couple, I would go to storage auctions. You know, those storage units where people put all their stuff in a little garage closet or whatever. I'd go there and buy the unpaid units they'd auction off. So I'd go buy the junk in there and resell it on eBay or Craigslist or wherever I could find a buyer, and would set up garage sales or lawn sales out of my family's home. So we kind of looked a little funny having a garage sale every week, multiple days of the week, but I started getting an income, got a business bug, so to speak. And in the middle of that, I'd been getting most of my stuff from storage units from a particular auctioneer. And that particular auctioneer started becoming famous. They started a TV show called Storage Wars. And so I accidentally walked in, well, not walked in, but I was part of one of their shoots. They would auction off all the storage units, and they would do a real one, and the buyer would get it, but then they would do a fake staged auction right after. So the way they would do it is if one of their cast members actually won the unit, then they would just make sure that they won the fake bid as well. And they would plant some things in there to make it look like they're discovering something that wasn't maybe there in the first place. And what happened real quickly is a storage unit with a cardboard box that was obviously empty, with a few cleaning tools like, you know, brooms and mops, normally would have gone for next to nothing, like literally maybe $20. Now they were going for almost $1,000 because people would see the show Storage Wars and say, I don't care what's in there, I just want to be able to look for a treasure. I'm in it for the experience. literally heard that. So needless to say, hard to make a profit when people are willing to throw money away in your competition. So I got drowned out pretty quick. Couldn't find other resources to sell fast enough, and the whole Amazon drop shipping stuff wasn't fully developed like it is now. I was thinking about doing that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't convenient enough for me at the time where I couldn't hack that. So I was still looking for stuff to do, seeing if I could buy things in bulk, find other auctions to go to and sell things. But while I was looking around, I had been doing a roofing job with somebody. My background was in construction. So I'm up on that roof, pounding nails. I'm using a nail gun, but putting shingles up there, and hard work in the sun. And one of the guys working says, "Hey, you're comfortable on roofs." He's an old family friend too. He's like, "Why don't you come help me out this year? I'm doing Christmas lights, money, and I'll pay you cash, whatever the dollar amount was per hour." And so I'm 19 at the time, and I say, "Yeah, that sounds good to me. I need some cash. Things slow down for me, and I need extra income, and you can give me full-time work at least for a couple months." So I was in. I started learning how to install Christmas lights from him. He showed me where to put bandit signs to try to get calls, and how to get the best deal on postcards, and how often to put them out, kind of the basics of marketing for any home service business. And we were talking, he's like, if we could only find a few different seasonal businesses and stack them up on each other. He had done pool cleaning at one point, so he's like, pool cleaning in the summer. Actually, pool cleaners stay busy pretty well year round, a lot of places, but he's just thinking out loud. Do pool cleaning, do Christmas lights, find some other things to fit in between. He actually did bee removal as another thing. But while in the middle of brainstorming, I start Googling different ways to make money, and I run across an article or something of the sort, a website. It was just kind of a basic landing page, how to make 6 figures cleaning windows, and it was selling a book. And I don't remember what book it was, but I just remember seeing it had a basic calculation. You can make $50 per hour cleaning windows, and if you work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks of the year, that makes $100,000. And you can do more than this. So I thought it was a scam. Honestly, that was my gut reaction. I was like, this doesn't look real. But now I'm curious. It kind of got me intrigued to, maybe I can't do 6 figures, but at the time I'll take 30K. I'll take 40K. I literally couldn't find a job that was steady at that time of my life. So I start looking into it. I find the window cleaning resource. They had a forum at the time, which is a really basic way to get some basic information about how to clean windows. There wasn't a whole lot on YouTube yet. YouTube was fairly new. They were just kind of coming into their own. YouTube, just if you didn't already know, YouTube was designed to be like a dating site. They wanted young ladies to put little videos up to profile who they were, all about them. And then other young gentlemen could look and say, "Oh, I like that girl," and reach out and send a message. So they pivoted real quickly. They started realizing other people were putting videos up there, and those videos were getting lots of views. And they realized the whole ad thing. People would pay ads to get in front of anybody who's still for a moment. So all this is happening. I start getting into the window cleaning idea. And while we're hanging Christmas lights, another, call him a competitor, another colleague, I don't know, another Christmas light installer was talking to us about how a window cleaner in the area was undercutting him on all his normal customers, saying, "I'll charge half of whatever he does." So I said, if I had a young guy, college kid who was just scrappy and ready to work for peanuts, I would go underbid all his window cleaning guys, and I'll take over his whole book of business, this whole neighborhood I'll take over, so that he knows what it feels like to be undercut at ridiculous prices. How's it going? Doing good. Yep. Recording some videos. I'm getting ready. I just acquired another company. And we're in the middle of it still, but just gotta finish the little details, finish paying all the bills. And
What does that company do?
window cleaning as well. They have a stronger customer base out in where was I? I was talking about how I got into window cleaning. Saw a website where on that website they were talking about how to clean windows and make six figures. I thought it was a scam, so I didn't buy the book or anything. I found the website. It used to be windowcleaningresource.com. Now it's windowcleaner.com. I actually have a affiliate link if you're ever interested. Just message me for it, and you can get good deals, and I'll get a commission. But I'm not here for that. I'm just here for entertainment purposes only. So, by the way, if you are watching on the live stream, I do apologize. I cannot read the comments, but I'll try to keep you entertained if I can. I'm just doing this for fun. Just checking out the live stream stuff. I've been building my YouTube channel for, well, I started it last year and starting to dig into it more over this summer, seeing what I can do and how I can help people. Started out just thinking maybe I could find some customers, but then I realized everybody who likes to watch window cleaning seems to be other window cleaners. So I started finding ways I could post videos that would help other guys starting out like me. So hence this story. So when I started out, I didn't know how to clean a window. We had just met a guy hanging Christmas lights who said it would be a good idea, that it was a great neighborhood to clean windows in. So I'm starting to understand the marketing of everything, how to get customers, because I was doing the Christmas lights with somebody else. And while I'm doing Christmas lights, I start getting my own customers the next year. And from those customers, two of them, it happened the same week that we had the conversation with that guy. So talk about providence. I'm a believer, and I believe God talks to me. I believe that he talks to people. That he didn't just do it back then, but he still does it today, just sometimes not in ways that we might expect like another human. So anyways, the way everything lined up was kind of mind-boggling for me. So how can it be that the same week somebody tells me about window cleaning, I find this website about it, and now these people are asking me if I'll clean their windows? I had had other Christmas-like customers. Nobody had ever asked me to clean their windows before. So the timing was providential, to say the least. I could just feel like something was brewing. So I said, yeah, I'll clean your windows. I was honest with them. I said, I've never done it before for pay, but I grew up working for my dad, who was a general contractor for some time, and he would just do smaller projects that he could do on his own with maybe one or two helpers. And he'd bring my brother and I along, and sometimes after the job, he'd give us a scrubber and squeegee and say, okay, you clean the windows. Didn't really know what we were doing, but we tried to make them clean. And they were, as far as a free job goes, it was good enough, I suppose. But anyways, I set up appointments for those two houses one day after another. Went to Home Depot, got what I could find as far as a squeegee and scrubber and some microfiber rags. Didn't have any clue what I was doing other than scrub the glass and then squeegee it off and then wipe off the frames. I was able to find a little bit about detailing, but not anything that really explained like I needed. So I think I know what I'm doing. You just don't know what you don't know. I say, okay, this is easy. Cleaning windows, not a problem. I can go there. I cleaned my own windows a couple times just to make sure I had it down. And I would just do straight pulls across the glass. I didn't know about how to fan. I didn't even know really if fanning would work. It didn't really work with the squeegees that I got from Home Depot, I'll tell you that much. Those things were junk. Don't buy squeegees from Home Depot. Scrubber worked fine, but it just didn't last very long. Squeegees came with hard rubber, so you drag the window against drag the squeegee against the window, and I'd seem to get a couple lines across, so I'd try to detail them with the microfiber cloths, and that would leave lines everywhere. So I did the best that I could, and I thought I had them clean enough. Then next day, I get a call from one of the homeowners, kind of unhappy, not understanding. She was a sweet lady. She said, you know, when you clean my windows, you left lines along the edges of all the glass. And I was wondering if you could come back and fix that. So I said, of course, I'll be there tomorrow. I didn't have much else going on anyway. So I go there, and I didn't realize I was using a damp microfiber cloth that was already dirty. And those fibers hold on to dust and it clings to it, and then you just drag the dust around the edge of the glass. So I thought I was doing a good thing detailing the glass, and it turned out I wasn't. I was making it dirtier than it was before. And they had, so needless to say, I went through the school of hard knocks. Got into the window cleaning forum, started reading other things. I'm not really much of a question asker. I just more of a lurker, more like a sponge. I'll listen to somebody talk and just soak everything in, and then I'll go out and try some stuff. Then I'll come back and listen to somebody else talk, soak it all in, make adjustments, go out and try it again, and just kind of use that good old, in mathematics they have what's called the guess and check method. You guess if an answer will work, and then you plug it into the equation. If it works at the end, you check to make sure it's good, and you keep guessing till you get closer to the right answer. So that was my method for learning how to clean windows. After a few jobs, I couldn't quite get enough fast enough. I didn't realize that winter wasn't a great time to clean windows. Even in San Diego, things slow down, and that's where I was. So I was trying to get customers in the dead of winter. It was February, and I just couldn't. So I run into a guy through Craigslist. I'm looking for jobs there, somebody hiring window cleaners. I say, yeah, I'm a window cleaner now. I've done it. I can do it. I'm willing to work for commission. I'll work hard. If they work with me, I'll do anything I can to be a loyal employee. I just kind of like this work, and I'd like to eventually start my own business. Remember, I had that kind of entrepreneurial bug. I liked the idea of starting something that was my own so that I could be at the helm and make decisions to watch it grow. And so I go and I interview for this window cleaning position for a newer window cleaning guy. He had done a year of window cleaning with a partner, and then they split up and went their own ways. And then he came back a year after that and decided he'd take that customer list they had developed, and he was going to start over with that list of customers. So working with him, there was one other guy. That other guy was much more experienced than myself. I didn't know about what steel wool was, let alone how to use it to clean glass. So he gave me a couple pieces of steel wool and said, hey, those microfiber towels, that's causing you all kinds of trouble. You need to use these Huck towels, surgical towels. If they're used, they're better. So he gave me a couple of those as well, told me where to buy some locally. Said, hey, you need to get a better squeegee too. There's a store over here you can get it from. Pointed me all the right places. And then the owner says, hey, I can't pay you what you want, but I can give you a minimum wage, and then we can bump it up as you do better production. You said yourself that you haven't cleaned windows professionally before, so there's usually a learning curve, but in about 3-6 months, somewhere in that range, we can have another conversation about pay and see how we can bump you up. Now, this guy was a little bit sleazy in the first place. I just didn't have a good gut feeling about him. I didn't really want to work for him, even if he was going to pay me well. So I real quickly said, no, I appreciate it. If you ever want to send me a job that you can't do, I'll do a good deal for you. If you want to subcontract it to me, but I kind of want to start my own thing. I've already gotten some of my own customers, and I realized real quick, if I get 2 customers a week, that's 1 day of work, and I could make more than working for this other guy. So I was like, I'll take chances and do it on my own. So I did. I started advertising more, started trying to find more examples of how to clean. Again, not a lot of videos I could watch, so I had to just read the forums and try to understand what they were talking about, and try to implement it from there. So I start growing on my own out there in California. Then I go and do a coupon promotion on, it was called Living Social. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's like a Groupon thing. But they boasted that they were better than Groupon because they have higher caliber customers. Whether they do or not, who knows? But I did a deal with them. And then I saw, after I had started this deal, I saw on that window cleaning forum, a bunch of guys had shared that link of my Groupon special and were making fun of it, ridiculing, how does this guy stay in business? How does he make any money? So, they don't know what's actually happening. I didn't know what I was doing in the first place. They thought I was like trying to grow some huge company. I was just trying to pay some basic bills. I want to pay for my cell phone and some more marketing material. So to me, if I was making $20 an hour, the most I had been offered up until that point was about 15. So I was like, I'm living the life if I can do between $25 and $35 an hour, which is about where I was at initially. So, needless to say, I liked the independence of it. I liked being able to do the work and see the transformation of the glass. And I caught the bug for cleaning windows. And I also liked, figuring out how to acquire customers and how to come off as a presentable person and company to a potential client. I learned quickly. I took notes from the flack I was getting about the ad on Groupon. And in case you're curious, the Groupon ad was, I think, $69 for 10 windows is what it said. And so I was able to, it was worded just right so that I could say the 10 windows for outside windows. And then I would charge extra for insides. And what worked to my advantage without knowing it at the time was that most houses in the areas where they saw the coupon had at least 20, if not 30 windows. And I had some larger clients who would see the Groupon but then just call directly. And I was answering enough phone calls to keep me busy, to keep making enough money, and growing at that point. So that was between 2011 and 2012. Then come in to 2013, I got married and moved to New York City. I thought it was over for me as far as window cleaning went. I was intimidated by the buildings in New York City. I knew I didn't want to do high rise. And as far as I knew, the houses in the residential areas around were too close together to even fit a ladder. That's what it seemed like to me. That was my honest, at the time, that was my view. So I figured I would never clean windows again. But that summer, I'd been working sales, and I knew I needed help with sales if I was ever going to be successful in business. I was not ever trained before this, so took advantage of the selling training for sales that I could from a couple of different organizations, and started trying to just grow personally. And that summer, about a few months after moving to New York, I started realizing, these sales gigs that I have are, this is just not the right ones for me. I was doing, the cell phone company, or rather a cable company that also does cell phones, and then another cable company, and I just didn't like doing the sales part of it. I was like, I'd rather run an organization or do something with my hands than try to talk people into using a product that I don't even use, because I was never really a cable guy. I didn't watch cable. I only ever had the internet. Now I'm having to try to talk people into buying more channels and spending more money for a phone. I never had a landline either, so it wasn't the right fit for me. So I started doing advertising for window cleaning on the side, and I was just kind of thinking it would be an extra side project that I would never take too seriously. Had a little website up, but not much more than a landing page. No, you're good.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm telling my buddy this. We went to Japan and Bangkok and stuff like that for like 3 weeks, and he came down here and was staying. And he's a high school buddy of mine. He has a carpet cleaning business.
Oh yeah.
So I was telling him about your business too. Okay, every house has windows, and most houses, probably 90% of them have carpet.
They at least have floors, right?
Right. And some houses have pools.
Yeah.
So he's like building this carpet. He already has 2 trucks, and he's pretty busy and stuff like that. But like I said, pool cleaning is weekly.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
And it gets busy in the winter too,
Yeah,
keeping
so
them open.
You could like have like a trifold thing.
Yeah.
Where it's windows, carpets, and pools.
Yeah.
And then like, because if you get into one, and you do a good job with the windows, you could do the carpet.
Yep.
And you could do the pool.
100%.
You know.
I follow.
Just throwing that out there.
No, it's been on my mind plenty.
I mean, how can you expand and expand with the same customer base?
Right. Well, because I like last week I was working and there was they were cleaning the HVAC system of a house, but it was a carpet cleaning company.
Yeah, some of them do that, and they do.
Yeah.
Some of them don't now do like the one we do our stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah, so it's just a matter of because I've studied that a lot, and there's some people right now, their whole like investors, the way they'll do it, they'll look for just little pieces like that. This is a window cleaner, this is a pressure washer, this is a carpet cleaner. They buy each business that has its own little book of business.
because windows you could do, like I know you.
A couple times a year, yeah.
Yeah, you like the
Once or
2 times.
twice.
Yeah, once for sure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get the second. We only did one this last time. Just 'cause-
I get some people who insist every other month. I'm like, they're a little crazy, but I'll take it.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll roll them all into one company,
Uh-huh.
just kind of streamline, because a lot of times it's like solo guys, maybe with a couple of crews, and they haven't quite dialed in their marketing
Yeah.
or their systems as far as communication. So they'll have kind of some already untapped resources with their own customer list.
Yeah.
So then they'll put, let's say, 4 companies together, each one maybe worth 100,000 in revenue. Let's just say that for an easy number.
Mhm.
So now that's 400,000 if you pile them up on top of each other. But now each one is worth 4 times as much because they're pulling from
And
each
same
service.
customer, so same.
Yeah, yeah.
You know who does a good job of that is the fireman company.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, it's called the Fireman, and we use them too. They're movers.
Okay.
They do the moving. They do Christmas lights, and now they're doing lawns and weed and stuff like that.
Okay.
But they come out here. I pay $500, and they put the lights up. They're
Yeah.
cut, and if one goes out and it's way up there,
Yeah, yeah.
I just call them. Hey, next time you're in the neighborhood, and they take care of that part.
Yeah.
It's worth it for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do the same thing with the Christmas lights. That's great that they do it. It sounds like they do the exact same thing as me. We probably learn from some of the same people.
Yeah. But I think, like, if you're in the same house, what are stuff you can do?
Exactly.
It's
Get the
the
checklist.
windows, the carpets, and you can do the floors too.
Yeah, take it to another level now.
And because there's tile.
So I have a guy I met at the local Starbucks, and he lives just north of whatever the road is,
Yeah.
about half a mile north of here.
Mhm.
And he wanted to buy my company
Mhm.
and have me work for him,
Oh yeah.
and I just don't like working for somebody
Yeah.
else.
Because you can still do the whole blue thing,
Yeah,
but make it BluLadder, blue pool, blue
right,
carpet,
right,
and then just you come in.
You're right. And we had those discussions too.
Yeah.
And so, but he wants to do, well, I was already thinking about this too, so I'm not going to give him all the credit. But you take several services like that, wrap them together. It's just a matter of growing till you can sustain that kind of thing. So I'll probably get there in 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, but with the customer,
Yeah.
you could say like, hey, if we do your windows, it's this.
We'll give you this special rate if we do
the
these things.
bundle,
Yeah.
And you're on an annual
Exactly.
service contract with
Right.
us.
And then you break it down to a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
And then we just come out and you don't have to worry about it. And
Yeah.
You save so much money.
Yeah. See, I like the verification that it's a good idea.
Yeah. No, I would do something like that, and then I'm like, well, shit. Now I don't have to coordinate with 3 people. I can just do.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to go that direction.
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm growing now, that's what I'm starting to think about. That's really good, helpful feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Another interruption in a good way. So, I don't know if you guys could hear what he was saying, but he was recommending that if I was to do multiple services, sell multiple services to each customer so they only have to call one guy instead of 3. So, somebody who could do pool cleaning and carpet cleaning and window cleaning and Christmas lights, you add it all together, and it works out. And if you've never thought of that before, it is a good idea. I know I've thought about it before. You just kind of have to grow enough to get there and maintain the customer service and level of competency of the workers. So the hard part about doing that is if you don't know how to do a particular service, you need to make sure you have somebody who's an expert that's working for you. And so I've thought about finding a way to partner with other business owners who would be in the same network, but then you have a shell company that packages them all together. And then the shell company would pay each service provider over time. And so you kind of just have people buy in and go, 4 companies go and own 25% of the shell company, and then you work as subcontractors for that shell company. Anyways, that's another conversation that I was anticipating having today. So that's not why I love window cleaning, but that is why I love geeking out about businessy stuff. So back to the window cleaning story. I got going with the window cleaning and it was going well, and then moved to New York. And then things just kind of snowballed when I was in New York. I got busy and I was working full time and would take sick days and holidays and snow days, whatever kind of day I could, paid time off, vacation, and I would be cleaning windows on my free time, or hanging Christmas lights, or cleaning gutters, somehow servicing those people. And it got to where I was making about $1,000 every Saturday, and more if I wanted to work Sunday, and more if I wanted to work an evening, which the evenings and Sundays were a little harder. I had a little family growing, one kid and one on the way, and obviously a wife. So I wanted to spend some time with them. I needed to make some ends meet, so I would work on the 6th day just to keep busy. I guess it's the 7th day, Saturday, whatever. So anyways, as things developed, I quit that job and went all in with the window cleaning company, and it just kept growing and growing and growing until I had 2 or 3 guys working for me steady. And then COVID happened and I moved out to Texas and sold it to those guys and started over from scratch here, where I am now. And I've been going at it here a couple years on my own, just waiting till I got to the right time with my family and everything else to where I could start hiring people and expanding more fastly. So, but anyways, the whole point of this video was not to tell my life story. It was to tell why I enjoy cleaning windows. And number 1, I enjoy working with my hands. I enjoy doing a service or some type of work where you're able to have a gratifying experience and you finish and you see a transformation. Kind of like building. You start with nothing, but then you put things together and you have something you've created. But in this case, it's more therapeutic of you see something dirty and you clean it and you walk away and it's transformed into something new or looking new. So it's the work itself, cleaning windows, is very therapeutic. It's kind of addicting. It makes it a little difficult when you're going to need to hire people because you like doing the work and you don't want to walk away from it altogether. So my strategy is more than likely that I'll have somebody work with me, kind of an apprenticeship model, where they'll be with me for at least 3 to 6 months, and we'll just partner up on things as they get better, depending on their skill level and their aptitude. Ultimately, they would be able to work on their own, but I would be able to still work as well, and then we split and have 2 crews. I run a crew and they run a crew. And then I get to 3 or 4 crews. I'm still doing the work. I have automated my call system so that if somebody calls, they reach another office, and they will call and they will answer and give quotes over the phone and schedule appointments and answer questions. If there's something they don't already have an answer for, then they'll forward me that number and I'll take care of it. So, and that brings me to the next thing, customer service. I enjoy talking to my customers. I've always been quite an introvert, more of a quiet person around people that I don't know. I'm happy to kind of watch and observe and not get in the middle of things. If it's people I'm close to who know me well, then I'll open up more and maybe be more involved and get into the things. If I'm in a safe place, I'll be a little more aggressive with my interactions. But I do enjoy, if I'm in a familiar setting like cleaning windows for a homeowner, I'm comfortable with that now. I get to know the customers. They come out and talk to me. They share stories. I've had this guy today talking to me about marketing ideas. He's a fairly successful guy working in T-Mobile and likes to talk marketing and talk shop. We were talking politics a little while ago. This is the week after, just this last Saturday, Donald Trump was shot at, almost killed. So we were talking about that and how that's going to affect this next election. And these are conversations that maybe I would have with friends and family, but it kind of brings in a new element of new perspectives. And I like hearing what other people think. Oh, I already cleaned these windows. What am I doing? I better rinse this off again. But anyways, I like talking to him. Last week I had this sweet 88-year-old woman, and she was telling me her life story. Her husband passed away almost a decade ago, and telling me what her life's been like since then, how family's been so good for her. She has a few kids, and one of them, she was having her grandkid come over, who's an adult with a child of her own, and she was going to hang out with her 8-year-old great-granddaughter. So she was talking about how that was kind of a healing balm for her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, being able to interact with her and be in her life still, and how she would live anywhere as long as she could be near her family. She was telling me how her own mother had 15 children and she was the middle child. So she got to see the perspective of, how the early ones were raised to some level, and then how her younger siblings were raised, the differences in that, how it affected her mom, how it affected her siblings. And her mom always told her, when she was a young mother herself, she said, these are the best days of your life. You're always going to look back on them fondly. And this is the funny part. She said, well, if these were my best days, then I don't know if I want to live any longer. If it's going to get worse, I don't know if I like this. So, anyways, she was letting me know. Since I'm a dad, I have 6 kids. She was letting me know that it's a special time and to try to find the joy in every situation. And even if it's kind of cumbersome at times and kids can be like little animals sometimes or little monsters, she just wanted to encourage me and let me know it would be worth it, and that family has a strong place in life, and if you take care of them and you stay close to them, then it'll be more than worth your while. It'll pay off more dividends more than any other thing in this life. So I get to have conversations with people like that, Sometimes I have people talking to me about how they can't believe anybody would ever vote for an orange man. Other people like to talk to me about how they know that the orange man's going to win again and he's going to save the country. And they're usually trying to tiptoe in the conversation, not wanting to have me judge them, and I don't. I take it all in stride. So I give open communication without holding anything about them or against them. So that's a very enjoyable aspect of window cleaning. And so number 1 was doing the work is therapeutic. Number 2, talking to customers every day, or at least most days, can lead to very enjoyable conversations, and you get to meet people with interesting stories. I've worked for people who've had pretty high positions. I think one of my most successful clients ever was in California, and he was a billionaire. And there's, people who've done real estate, people who manage retirement funds. They all have their advice, and they all have 1 or 2 really good nuggets that you're able to take in and learn from and grow through. So even the ones that I don't agree with their lifestyles altogether, I've had some good things that I've learned. So the other thing that I like, number 3, probably in this order too, is getting to understand marketing, how to get new customers, the strategy behind everything, the tactics that you can use. Whether you're going to set up bandit signs on the side of the road and try to get people to call the number, or send postcards that somehow capture their attention and pull on their emotions enough to say, hey, I need to call this number to get clean windows. Or, whatever tactic or technique you use to get them understanding the psychology behind it, the feelings that are involved with making a decision, the follow-up part of it, how to keep people engaged so they want to stay with you as a service provider and get to know you as an individual, not just like a corporate entity. So I've built my company in a way where a lot of times people do say, like, you kind of look like you're part of a franchise. How big is this company? I say, oh no, it's just me. I'm like, well, that's what so-and-so told me when they told me about you, but then I called and I got the emails and saw the follow-up, and I thought for sure you must be part of a large company. So I said, no, it's just automated in there. I set that up with a few pieces of software, and but I'm glad that you like it. But it's just me. I'm here. If you ever need anything, you can text me directly. I'm a human. No big operation here. So people get very appreciative when you follow up with them, by the way. And if you have all that automated, that brings me to the next thing. After getting customers, I love automating systems. It's almost like you get to build something that lasts. So the business that I had started in San Diego just kind of went to nothing. And that's part of what's motivated me, I think. I had a customer list that was going decently. I didn't charge enough. It wasn't a sellable asset by any means. But I had hoped that a family member would be able to take it over and grow it from there. But it didn't work. He actually moved, the one who I was thinking of selling it to. So he wasn't going to be able to do that in any way. He's started his own construction company and he's very successful now. So no need to regret that. But it made me feel like, I lost a baby or something. Like I had created something with lots of hope and anticipation, and I had to let it go. Moved to New York so suddenly that I just kind of had to let those customers disappear from my mind and my memory. And honestly, I did get a lot of one-star reviews when I didn't answer the phone after that, but it is what it is. I was gone. So, but then when I started in New York, I started listening to a podcast. I think it was called the Growth Vault podcast or something like that, but it was done by Joshua Latimer. He's kind of a big guy in the industry now. He's been very successful, started his own window cleaning company that grew, and he was able to sell it. And then he started a software company called SendGem, which I use to do automated postcard sendings. And you can automatically send it to any number of residents in the neighborhood of the home that you're cleaning. And as soon as I finish sending the invoice, it will automatically send postcards to all the neighbors. Or if I want to send thank you cards, there's several sequences I have set up that I turn on and off depending on my mood, or depending on the season that I'm in or how busy I am. I'll turn more of them on if I'm trying to go hard with the marketing. But he had a lot of talk about automating anything that you can in your business so that it gets done properly and doesn't drain you mentally to get it taken care of. So I started listening to that before I went full-time in my second business while I was working with sales stuff. I was just listening to every podcast and reading every book that I could find about business development and how to automate your backside of your business or the office stuff. So as I was learning and growing, I started saying, okay, how can I do this myself? And I built a website with booking through a calendar system, and it was so much fun to put these different puzzle pieces together. Okay, if they want to book a job for X amount of windows, then they can get an automatic suggestion of gutter cleaning for a certain price. And then if they click the button, then they'll get to have both jobs serviced at the same time, and it will block out enough time for them to have both services performed on their house before the next appointment can be scheduled. And I started really geeking out with that stuff, and with, got in after that to the follow-up stuff, sending a bunch of emails in a sequence that wouldn't bother the customers, but just keep them informed, kind of finding that right beat, the right pulse to where they're going to get all the information they need. They'll get reminded to have their windows cleaned in the appropriate times, but not going overkill, being too aggressive. They don't need to have a text and an email sent to them every day. But an email once every week or two doesn't hurt. And then a text message every 3 or 4 months, they appreciate it. If they don't like it, they don't have to subscribe to it. Nowadays, legally, you have to allow them to opt into a text message campaign, so nobody does it accidentally. And email, it's supposed to be the same way, although obviously a lot of businesses will just sell your email to somebody. It happens. But those are the things that fascinate me. Not just about cleaning windows, but about running a small window cleaning company. So next, I'll be getting into more of the leadership development of things. I got to dabble with it when I was in New York. First guy I hired, there was a pastor in the area. I had met him and said, hey, if you ever know any young guys who need a job, let me know. I'd be happy to mentor somebody and help them learn a trade or just help them develop as an individual. So shortly after that, maybe a month or two later, he calls me up. Said, hey, you need somebody to work for you? You need an employee? I have somebody who needs it right now. You can start tomorrow. So I hire that kid on the spot before even, well, in my mind before meeting him, but I didn't tell him. I said, okay, fine, yeah, have him ready tomorrow. I'll pick him up at 8 and we'll have a meeting and talk to him, and we'll do a couple jobs together. You can see if he likes it, and if he wants to work for me, I'll definitely give him a shot. So we met up. He was not experienced with anything other than video games. So I'm sure you could imagine. Typical Gen Zer, passionate, very passionate about chess and online video games and Twitch and online streaming, and he needed to have a way to make an income. His grandfather had been his father figure. He lived with his grandfather and grandmother most of his life. His mom had been alive, but not able to raise all of her children. The dad completely ran out on them, and so grandparents took over some of the kids, and aunt and uncle took over another kid. They kind of got split up as a family, and she got cancer. So while he was living with his grandparents, his grandfather became his father figure. When his mom had cancer, while he was in high school, and right around the time he graduated, his mother passed away. Then on top of that, that was devastating enough, losing his mother. 2 days later, his grandfather passes away from a heart attack. The grief was too much to bear after losing his daughter. And so this young guy, just turning 18, living with a grandmother who, for the most part, verbally abused him, which there's a whole backstory there, but she made amends with him and passed away a couple of years ago. But thanks to the work of God in both their hearts, they were able to really get along at the end, and she made it into heaven, we think. And she used to curse him. She used to lock him out at night. If he got home after 7:30, he'd be out all night long in the middle of winter, freezing temperatures outside. And in her mind, he deserved it. He was worthless. You need to learn how to be independent, she would say. You need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And so she loved him. But her way of expressing it was that he needs to learn the hard way. And it's a hard thing. And so if he doesn't get shoved off the ledge, he'll never learn to fly. And so I need to be hard on him. If I don't lock him outside, he'll never get it. If I don't make him do certain things, and force his arm in different ways, then he'll never be able to develop into a man. And so, his part of it was somewhat true, but she went a little bit extreme in many situations that he didn't understand. So he was struggling with that grief, not just from losing his parents, or not just from losing his mother and grandfather, but now living with almost a witch in many ways. I mean, she would do witch stuff, so he was literally living with a witch. And he was terrified of her. So, needless to say, this young guy, I took him under my wing, and I started to learn to love discipleship and just professional development, leadership development. When I first hired him, he couldn't say yes, sir. If I gave him any criticism at all, even in a positive way, he would begin to shut down and think he was a failure and he couldn't do anything right. And he would voice that at times. And I said, no, you can't think that way. I'm letting you know what you need to fix because you're able to. You're more than capable of doing these things that I'm telling you about. That's the only reason why I'm coaching you through it. So when I tell you don't do it that way, it's because there's a better way, and I know you have the capacity to do great things. And so I just want you to know that I'm not criticizing you. I'm not trying to come after you. All you have to do is say yes, sir, and the conversation will be over. You just listen to it, soak it in. However many times I have to tell you, just learn to just smile and wave. If you have to swallow and bite your tongue, do what you gotta do. But wherever you're at in life, if somebody gives you criticisms or tries to help you know what to do differently, you gotta learn how to not respond in a negative way and to take it in a way that can help you grow from it, not just clam up and hide away from any type of conflict or criticism. So I really began to invest into that young guy, and we're still in contact to this day. Occasionally, I don't get to talk as much as I'd like, but he's a hard worker now. He went to go work for Amazon after I moved. He was able to get normal jobs and hold them down, and it's just been fantastic, the transformation from somebody who couldn't show up on time, couldn't hardly put on the right clothes at the right time, and didn't know how to say yes sir, no sir, just obey. He turned everything around. That was his faith in God, and the way he was able to forgive the people around him in his life who had hurt him. He became a role model to his younger sister, helped to show her the light, worked as hard as he could so that she could go to nursing school and finish through and not have the same trouble that he did. He had been trying to go to college but had to drop out because he didn't know how to work and do his studies. He'd actually dropped out right before I hired him. So he started to learn discipline, and to see an individual go from nothing, no potential, your life is already over before it ever was able to begin, to now there's hope and there's way for you to provide for yourself, and now he can rent his own apartment and pay his own bills and feel like a real man. He may never become a millionaire, he may never own a huge home, but he's not on the street. And which leads me to another story with his brother. His brother tried to give him a helping hand. He had a little brother who would have been a fantastic employee if he would show up, if he would tell the truth. Very athletic kid, fearless when it came to heights. I had to rein him in a few times, but worked with me for a couple days, and then so often it would be, oh, sorry boss, I overslept. I'm at this other place, can you pick me up there? It'd be 10 o'clock and we were supposed to meet at 8 or 9. And he just wouldn't show up, and he'd always have another excuse of what happened. And didn't take long. He crossed some lines, went to jail, not working for at that time. I told him, look, if you're willing to tell me the truth and show up on time, I'll give you another shot, but until you can stop lying to me, until you can be honest and follow through with things that you say you're going to do, you're not going to work for me. But just know, if you just come and you apologize, make it right, I'll give you another shot. He is a little too proud for that. And ultimately was running with the wrong crowd. Went to jail a couple different times for a couple different things. And it didn't go so well with him. And to think his older brother could have been in the same situation. He was literally one relationship away, one helping hand away from being able to live a life independently, supporting himself. And it's kind of scary. You're one breath away from being in poverty. And neither of these guys had a good example in their father. Their father's still alive today. They never see him. He comes back to town every once in a while if he can collect a security check, social security check, or something of that nature from family members. But they don't get much more interaction than that. If he thinks he can get a couple dollars, he'll come around. And then he's gone. So you just never know what's going on. So it's given me a real heavy heart for people who are coming from a place of no means. And it's not to say that somebody else is responsible, like that me or the government or somebody else should has the duty to bring them out of that place. But any place that we can help, why not? If you can hire somebody who maybe they don't look like the perfect specimen of, but there's somebody who you can help in life, that you can really minister to them and help them as a human being and see their humanity. They're created in the image of God. And to be able to help somebody like that, that's become really one of my primary motivations for not just having a window cleaning company, but to be able to grow it and expand into other services and give more people opportunities and whatever background they're coming from. So you need those A players, those people who are able to do everything, but if there's somebody you can help, I don't see why not. So moving forward, as I'm growing my company, that's honestly, I could stay just being the one doing the window cleaning myself forever. I'd be content. I can make a good salary just working for myself, cleaning glass like this. I'll do some streams just so that I feel like I'm talking to somebody else, not myself. I do work alone a lot right now, so if I seem a little crazy, it's probably because I am a little crazy. But all this stuff motivates me to keep cleaning for now and then to go beyond where I'm at right now so that I can help other people. Bring other guys out of poverty, bring other guys from a place of no experience and no parental guidance to actually being able to become competent men and leaders, heads of families, and responsible, contributing citizens. So it's probably the biggest factor for me now. What gives me hope and keeps me coming back to this and not doing some other job. 'Cause, I'm sure, I don't know, I have not tried to put a resume together as a college dropout. I have a couple years worth of college, but I never got the degree. Worked for some sales companies for a little while and worked doing building maintenance for a short time. Construction a little while before that, I suppose. But it was never anything consistent, never anything long term that would make somebody say, "Oh, that's a great hire right there." So I have some experience running my own thing. But as far as a resume goes, you kind of can be looked at as a maverick, somebody who has a will of their own, a wild stallion almost, hard to be broken in. And they don't know, can this guy be a team player? Can this guy contribute to the greater good of everyone else? Or is he going to want to do his own thing? Is he going to be too independent? Is he slid away as soon as he finds an opportunity doing something else, working for himself again. At this point, after this many years working alone, it's a fair criticism. So I don't know if I would be able to get another job, but I haven't looked. If I could get another job, that's the primary reason why I wouldn't, or why I haven't looked up to this point, is just because of the potential of having that flexibility, the freedom to hire who I want, train them how I want to, help them how I want to help them, both monetarily, spiritually, physically, in every way. Help nourish their faith and their walk with God and their Creator. Help them to become family men. So that's, if I had a dream as far as this business, it's elevating the lives of others so that they can be trusted, strong men in their communities. And I don't think anything is more satisfying to business owners than when they have young guys working for them or young ladies working for them who are able to go on and say, look, I'm a first-time home buyer. I was able to do this because of the job that I have here and the stability that I've found in this career that you provided me. I just don't think there's anything like that. So I may just be a lowly window cleaner, but I think being a lowly window cleaner gives you a perspective, a transparency, you might say, a view of the world that opens you up. Because I'm in nice homes every single day. People don't get their windows cleaned unless they have a lot of extra money. It's a luxury service. You don't find poverty-stricken people who are paying to get their windows cleaned. It doesn't happen. You have homeowners who are wealthy and successful, and then you hear stories about where they've come from, and it can be motivating. And so if you can connect those two worlds, the ones who've made it, come from nothing to be something, and then to steer somebody who's in the middle of the pit and point them and give them hope for a future, something that's different than what they've experienced, and then help to curb that motivation in a way where it's the success isn't everything, or that outward success at least isn't everything. So I guess you could consider maybe a man of faith, a spiritual guy, somebody who loves God, somebody who thinks they talk to God. And to me, there's one scripture that always rings true. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but to lose his soul? The word soul, if you look at it in the Hebrew, it's actually a word, nephesh, and it means life. It's like the spirit of a person, or the thing that brings them an identity of sorts. It's their life, the life within them, their soul. So what good does it do a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? You see people who are successful but they've made compromises. But you see a lot of people who are able to be successful and they don't. They're able to have a form of wealth without compromise, where they're able to enjoy something. Maybe they're not as wealthy as they could be. Maybe if they would have cut some corners or cut some people out, maybe they could have gone further or a little higher, but they're successful without that. And so I hold on to the stories of the people who, the 88-year-old grandmother who has her highlight right now is to hang out with her great-granddaughter. Or the business guy who, there's another guy, former VP at Coca-Cola. Now he spends his time, he's retired, and he spends his time doing ministry things that he's able to work with young families, young girl who has an unplanned pregnancy. He's able to give them counseling. Talk to a young guy who didn't expect to have a baby this young. Now he's 17, 18 years old and has to find his way out in life. I'm able to talk to these guys and hear their stories, and it's motivating to see how much you can help somebody if you have the right means. And it doesn't take the money so much as it takes your time and effort and your stability and your willingness to talk to somebody who might pull all your energy out from you. But those are the investments that will have the best payoffs, I think, not just in eternity, but in this life, where you're able to see lives transformed, families protected and served. I think that's the answer to a lot of the problems we have in life today. You know, don't want to get political or anything. If I was political, I lean a little bit more red than blue. I would be known to be pretty conservative myself. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I've seen people coming from underprivileged communities where there's no fathers. And it makes a major difference. I had the advantage of having a great father who, he didn't teach me how to be independently wealthy necessarily, but he taught me to work hard and to value what I could contribute and to do my best to whatever it is. And so many people today don't get that. Not once. They might have one teacher. Another great conversation I had with another great customer, a woman who worked in the Dallas Unified School District for a little while and saw how, if you don't know anything about school districts, the Dallas School District is pretty terrible. It's renowned for being a place not to be. And you know, when she saw the mess that it was, she realized that it could not be fixed from the inside. And she went ahead. Military wife, her husband was part of the army. So they traveled around, moved from place to place, and when they moved to the DFW area, she worked there at first and then was really quick to move on. And she said it's such a big project, one person can't fix it. They needed a complete haul if they're going to do anything right. We were talking about how one teacher can make the difference in somebody's life. One person of influence. So if there's anything I could encourage you in today, it's you can be that one person. You can be that one to make a change. Just caring about somebody's life enough to slow down, have important conversations with them that may cause their life story to pivot in incredible ways. Sometimes it's just a little brief encouragement that, hey, you can do this. You want to start a business? Try. Worst thing that could happen is you fall down and you get right back up. It won't be the end of you. How many successful people have failed and planted their face in the sand a dozen times before that one actually works? And we all look at Thomas Edison and the light bulb, how it took him something like 1,000 experiments before he found the right material to be the filament of the first light bulb. The idea of failing forward. It's like a stumble when you fail, but if you can learn from that failure and that mistake, to be able to grow from it and implement changes so that you don't make the same mistake, at least not in the same way again. So fail forward, help other people to grow and to have encouragement that they can make a difference, that they can be different, that they can help. You just gotta help people see their own potential. So anyways, that's mostly why I like cleaning windows. Helping people, talking to people, having something to set my mind to, and be creative. And you know, there's no set narrative. You can change your mind about things. If I decide I don't want to run a business anymore, I can get it to a place where I have an asset of a business that, you know, as it is now, I only have a customer list. Right now, if I was to walk away from my business, you know, I wouldn't get much for it. It's the value of the reputation and the customers. And there's no guarantee the customers stick with you, so, or whoever buys it. But if I spend another couple years working at it, there's a good shot that, you know, if I get 3 trucks going, have a stable environment for employees, sell that, and do something completely different if I wanted to. Or I can decide I like to coast there and enjoy dealing with a half a dozen guys and hanging out with them, helping them to develop and grow personally. I can cruise there for a while and make it adequate income, spend more time with my family, help do things in the community that give other people a leg up. Or I can go full bore growth mode and scale from a hub with 6 guys to a network of employees with dozens of trucks and a couple locations, and start expanding from there, almost like franchising out. So you get that with that independence, you get that flexibility of a future that you'll never get at a job, where you can, it's really the sky's the limit. Your imagination and motivation are your limiting factors. So I like having that kind of untapped resource of creativity in the back pocket. So there's stages of everything, one step at a time. The patience makes a big difference. But if you're able to plan something out, you see where you want to be, you take steps to get there. You plan it out accordingly. You be resilient when things come and slow you down, the speed bumps along the way. Like I was saying before, you fail forward. You don't let it hold you down. You get back up off that bike and start riding again. Everybody has to start somewhere. We all start on 2 legs with some diapers. So, there you go, folks. That's why I clean windows. And today, I'm finished. There you go. That's the front of the house. Just got to touch that up. I'm going to be cleaning those screens and putting them back inside. So, you guys all have a great day. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of this live stream. Hey, if you like it, go ahead and leave a comment for me. And feel free to reach out. My email is ben@BluLadder.com. That's BluLadder without an E. I see somebody was asking if I was hiring. I don't know if you're still watching, but depending on your location, go ahead and reach out to me. Again, that's BEN@BLULADDER.com. That's my email. So feel free to send me a message. Find me on social media. Anything where it's BluLadder, particularly BluLadder DFW. Or leave a comment with your email, whatever, and we can get in touch. So you guys take care. If you ever have any questions, reach out to me, and I'm here for you. If you're another window cleaner like me, we'll get things done. Thank you.